Hello, app-driven guy. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it be to you. So, I haven't made a video in the morning for a while, kind of in the dark here. It's 4:30 a.m., October 5th, Portland, Oregon. So, I haven't made a video in a few days. Been really busy. I've been doing tons of Rideshare, Amazon Flex. It's been really good. I've just been totally swamped, but my average is going up as I'm getting more and more experience with Rideshare. I feel like every day is just a little bit more learning, finding out what works for me. And what I'm learning is it's not the same for everybody. Everybody's just got their preferences of what they want to do. I'm willing to make a little bit less money some hours to be able to work geographically where I want to and with, different kind of clientele. So basically, what I wanted to do in this video is pose the question, is Lyft winning in Portland, Oregon? To me, it really looks like that's the case. I'm not an anti-Uber guy. I run Uber and Lyft. I make that pretty big theme in my videos that I like doing Uber and Lyft. I like both companies a lot. I don't really hold a grudge because I haven't been doing it long enough. I know there are a lot of guys that do hold a grudge for Uber. And I'll address that in the video. It's a lot of the riders as well, from what I've seen. So here in Portland, Oregon, they've recently raised rates with Lyft, I guess because they're getting so popular now. And I'm thinking that's kind of the new Lyft model, is to just raise rates and then give out tons of promotions to take that $5 off of 10 rides or whatever it is, so that people can get that lower price ride and get to know Lyft and like Lyft better. And then hopefully they'll keep that market share once they can, stop doing so many promotions. So basically, what I'm seeing because of this is, first and foremost, I make, for every ride I do with Lyft, I make about 50% more than I would make on that same exact ride with Uber. Okay, that's without any surge or prime time, because I get close to 20% more with Lyft automatically. They charge an extra 20 cents a mile over what Uber charges, plus the base fee is 65 cents more. So basically I make about 15 to 20% more on every ride with Lyft off the bat. Then my power driver bonus, I hit that every week now, because to not hit it, that's 20% of my money for Lyft that I could just be losing out on. So I make sure and keep my numbers high and hit that power driver bonus every week. That way, every Lyft ride I take, I look at it and say, I'm actually making more than that because of that bonus. And then I compare it to an Uber ride. So that's about 15 to 20% more that I get because Lyft pays more. And then another 20% for the power driver program. And then another about 10 to 15% because of tips. So, consistently getting tips through Lyft. And so I'm making about 50% more every ride. That means 50% or, less time. Well, not 50%. It's about 1/3 less time I have to actually spend on the road to make the same amount of money comparing Uber and Lyft. So that's more time I can spend preparing videos, talking to you guys, more time that I can, research, listen to audiobooks, whatever, rest, get out of my car and stretch, and less miles I have to drive to make the same amount of money. And so if I have downtime, it's not a big deal. But that brings me to my next point, is that I see now that I'm getting more Lyft rides all the time. Like if I have both apps on, it seems like 60% of the time or more I'm getting Lyft rides when I have both on, which is amazing. I mean, that used to not be like that even just a few months ago. And then I noticed there's also a lot more Lyft drivers on the road. If I go into the rider apps, which you have to do, you have to go in the rider apps to see where everybody's at. That's a whole nother subject. Anyway, so if I go in the rider apps, I look at Uber and I look at Lyft, and there's always way more Lyft drivers on the road, like twice as many. Now that could be, maybe there's more rides going on with Uber and there's less guys on the road, but I don't feel like that's the case, because like I said, I get more Lyft rides when I turn the app on, when I turn both on. So another angle that I wanted to approach with this is, like, the other day I only had Lyft turned on because to me it's only worth it to have Uber on if I'm far away from the airport and it's airport time in the morning. I'll turn Uber on, because then I get the chance of getting that $20 ride or whatever. But then the other day I had Uber turned off, and it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and I only had Lyft turned on, and I got a Lyft ride to the airport that paid like, whatever, it paid close to 50% more than it would have with with Uber. And the guy told me on the way there, he's like, I looked at Uber for a ride, there was nobody around. I looked at Lyft, and you were close by, and so I ordered. And he thought it was weird. He's like, oh, well, it's kind of weird if you have Uber and Lyft running, why it showed Uber was so much farther away. And I said, well, I didn't have Uber turned on. I just had Lyft turned on at the time, and that was it. And he was like, wow, okay, well, I guess Lyft won, right? And I'm like, yeah, I guess so. So by not having Uber on, I made way more money. If I would have had Uber on, he would have picked me up, and I would have been his driver still, but I would have been doing Uber and made 50% less money. So that's an interesting angle that I've never even thought about until I was on that ride. And that's why I'm sitting here in Lake Oswego, or West Lynn area in Oregon, and I only have Lyft turned on because I can afford, 20 minutes out of the hour. I can afford that downtime, that 50% downtime that I get, with Uber. It's crazy. So then it gives me time to talk to you guys. It's awesome. So the other thing is complaints from Uber riders is that there's no tipping through the app. They don't like that they can't tip you through the app, and they say that all the time, like, oh, it makes it awkward because I don't want to carry cash with me to do a tip, and then I don't want to. I just have my credit card, so I keep a PayPal card reader. I have a PayPal account, and I have a PayPal card reader. I can hook into my phone, swipe the card, and put in a tip. I've done it once. It was kind of awkward, but the guy was happy to do it because he wanted to give me a tip. And those are the kind of things that people leave Uber over. They want to be able to take care of their driver, and Uber doesn't seem to understand that. And then a lot of times complaints from riders that their drivers are pretty rude through Uber. I've heard that complaint a lot of times, that they have rude drivers or just very inexperienced. Crazy stories. I just hear a lot of crazy stories, and they're always Uber stories. There are crazy Lyft stories too. The Lyft app is easier for the riders to use. That's one thing they told me. They like the ease of the app. They know what their price is going to be a lot easier than with Uber. And the Uber just seems kind of down with the app. It's like everything's kind of gray. And Uber puts on this, front that like their drivers are all driving around in 3-piece suits, all professional looking. Maybe you'll get that with Uber Select, but Uber X, usually get a guy in a t-shirt and shorts and flip-flops half the time. So, I mean, they're trying to promote something they're not. And riders kind of see through that. I mean, Uber does have the huge business crowd. That's a big thing with Uber, is that they cater mostly, not mostly, but like they take care of the big businesses more and have deals with them, where the riders, everyday riders, kind of get this impression that, they don't like the way Uber's run, basically. Those are complaints that I get. I don't know, my personal feelings are kind of mixed at this point. I like having both companies on. I use Uber to make morning airport rides happen a lot of times, and I like to hop on when there's surge. I get good surge rides. This weekend, my average ride with Uber has been about $10 to $15, all the time, because I only turn it on during select times, when I'm far away from the airport and when there's surge. So I like having both. That's why I run Uber and Lyft. That's why I do these Uber and Lyft videos. And leave comments, suggestions, and I'll see you next time. Make sure and share this video if you like it. If you're going to sign up for Uber or Lyft, make sure and use my promo codes underneath. Have a great day.